Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth episode of the Pariah Podcast, where I go over 3 of the more interesting news stories found on my free weekly newsletter, the Pariah Newsletter, which can be found at thepariahnewsletter.com, link in the description. Today we're going to be starting off with a news story coming from Georgia, website activistpost.com, and the article is titled, Cops Detain Entire School Illegally Search/Grope in 900 Kids and Find Nothing, Parents Furious. Scroll down a bit, coming from Worth County, Georgia. Children feel violated, parents are furious, and a lawsuit is getting filed after the Worth County Sheriff's Office conducted an illegal search of 900 students in the name of the war on drugs. The rights-violating, intrusive, and aggressive pat-downs and drug dog searches yielded absolutely nothing. On April 14th, when the students of Worth County High School returned from the spring break, they arrived at school to find a police state had taken over. The sheriff and his deputies, with no probable cause, detained and illegally searched every single child in the school. All 900 of them. When kids went home to tell their parents what happened, naturally, they were furious as it was a gross violation of the children's Fourth Amendment rights. It's essentially a Fourth Amendment violation, said attorney Mark Bignod. It's 900 illegal searches, suspicionless pat-downs, and suspicionless searches. Naturally, Sheriff Jeff Hobby is standing by the rights violation on a massive scale, noting that as long as a school administrator was present, the search of the children was legal. Apparently, in the sheriff's mind, school administrators can usurp the constitutional rights of children in favor of unlawful police searches. But school officials and the student rulebook disagree. In the student handbook, it says school officials may search a student only if there is reasonable suspicion that a student has an illegal item. As WALB reports, Worth County Schools and attorney Tom Coleman said in order for the sheriff's office to search any students, they'd have to have reason to believe that there was some kind of criminal activity or the student had possession of contraband or drugs. The rest is semi-irrelevant. I'm going to have to condense this news article because there's a good portion of this that's just kind of the reaction from the public and, the actual laws regarding this. Let's finish this off with the last couple sentences. As for the 900 counts of deprivation of rights under the color of law that the sheriff should be facing, not a single charge has been levied against the department. This is what school has become in a police state. I wouldn't say we necessarily live in a police state, but that is definitely a police state-esque act, right? That is kind of scary that the police can go in and just do that, with no repercussions, right? But we're going to be moving on to the next news story. This one comes from thelastamericanvagabond.com. I'm probably going to be botching this word a lot because there's a word in here that I'm not very familiar with, so I might not get it correctly. I'm going to pronounce it glyphosate. Glyphosate contaminants in processed brand name foods. Now, what this news story article is, it's the first half of it is irrelevant. We're going to be going down to the actual beef of it, the relevant portions of this. Now, essentially what this is, this chemical I was studying about, glyphosate, is a herbicide that's used in growing food, obviously, and it has links to people getting cancer, right? There's like a correlation between that, glyphosate, and people getting cancer. And what they found is that after the food has been processed and you buy it at the store, it still has a lot of this glyphosate still on it, right? There's a lot of this cancer-inducing chemical that can still be found on your food at home. So let's see. Let's go over some of the more interesting ones. Cheerios apparently are the ones with the highest content of glyphosate. Here you can see original Cheerios without the honey nut has 1,125.3 parts per billion, which is the highest out of anything else on the chart. I'm not too familiar with parts per billion, but that is the highest out of the chart. Honey Nut Cheerios, you have 670.2 parts per billion. And, the cereals seem to be the ones that are, for whatever reasons, the ones that are worse, have the most of it. Look at this, Kashi soft baked cookies, oatmeal, dark chocolate. They have 275.58 parts per billion. Very interesting. Even some of, if you scroll down here, you can even see that some of the ones that try to advertise, look at this one, Stacy's Simply Naked Pita Chips, coming from Frito-Lay. That one has 812.53 parts per billion. As I was saying before, there's even some companies here that try and give off the impression that they're very healthy, right? Very green, good for the earth, environment. Even they have some of this glyphosate on them. Look at this, 365 organic golden brown crackers. I'm sure you've seen that brand places. Comes from Whole Foods. Even they have this chemical on it, 119.12 parts per billion. It's crazy. Oh, let's continue back on the article. Going down the list, we see what I call corporate food sin in brand names like General Mills, Kellogg's, Nabisco, PepsiCo, Campbell Soup Company, Little Debbie, Lucy's, Whole Foods, and Back to Nature. The really sad news, in my opinion, is brand names originally associated with previously healthy type food before corporate buyouts apparently have chemically contaminated brands like Annie's and Kashi because corporate brands' parents don't keep tight control over chemical-free food processing and production, in my opinion. That was a mouthful. My apologies. Are consumers happy about eating glyphosate? We know glyphosate is in vaccines given to children. See my article about this, just advertising. If you are the parent of a child of the autistic spectrum, or if anyone in your family has a type of gastrointestinal disorder, blah, blah, blah. So that was essentially it for the article. It was just kind of an interesting find, right, to see that this chemical that has a correlation with people obtaining cancer. Large trace amount. There's trace amounts of it, but how would you say, substantial trace amounts of it can be found in popular children's snacks, really. So we're going to move on, coming from a story that actually comes from my home state, Arizona. Sierra Vista woman finds note from Chinese prisoner in Walmart purse. Now, this is not something, we've heard a few cases of this in the past, right? I don't believe this has come from Arizona before, but very interesting. Tucson, a Sierra Vista woman says a note from a Chinese prisoner ended up inside a purse at her local Walmart. Laura Wallace's mother-in-law purchased a purse from the store using a gift card she'd given her. She later found a tiny folded-up note inside a zipper compartment. The note was written in Chinese. Wallace had it translated. It actually stated that the person who wrote that was a prisoner in China, she said. Basically what their situation was and how they work. Long hours, 14 hours a day, and they don't have a lot to eat. To be sure, the note was translated by 2 more Chinese-speaking people, all came up with a similar translation. I'm very sure that's exactly what the note says, said Wallace. Similar letters have been traced back to stories like this, or stores like Saks Fifth Avenue and Kmart over the years, and in one case, the writer was traced back down to China. Wallace said she's sharing to see if something similar can happen here. Blah, 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 blah. The rest is kind of the woman telling her personal story. A Walmart spokesperson issued the following response to the News for Tucson. We can't comment specifically on this note because we have no way to verify the origin of the letter, but one of our requirements for the suppliers who supply products for sale at Walmart is all work should be voluntary as indicated in our standards for suppliers. A full translation of the letter as provided to Wallace reads, inmates in Yingcheng prison, and this is what the actual, like I said, as I said here, the translation of what the note itself said. Inmates in the Yingshan prison in Guangxi, China, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, are working 14 hours daily with no break/rest at noon, continue working overtime until 12 midnight, and whoever doesn't finish his work will be beaten. Their meals are without oil and salt. Every month the boss pays the inmate 2,000 yen. Any additional dishes will be finished by the police. If the inmates are sick and need medicine, the cost will be deducted from the salary. Prison in China is unlike prison in America. Horse, cow, goat, pig, dog. Literally means inhumane treatment. So it would appear as if China is using, physical labor in prison. Like kind of like we do in America. Where the prisoners will make things in prison, but it's kind of like they take it to a new extremity over there in China. Here's the actual note itself, which was found in the purse, in a compartment in the purse. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see how someone was able to successfully get this written down and over the seas, successfully without anyone ever seeing it, and it sheds a light on the everyday items we all purchase. It's kind of a crazy story, right? But it's just, wow. Who knows? Maybe one day this is something you can know someone who this happens to, right? Very interesting. For any more news stories like this, any more interesting news stories that's not typically reported on by the mainstream media, not widely reported on, please visit thepariahnewsletter.com. Sign up for my free weekly newsletter where you get more news like this directly in your inbox at no cost to you. Please like, comment, subscribe, contribute to the conversation, even if you disagree. And that's it. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.